Hey everybody, welcome to YouTube Live. This is Mr. Joynt Live, Conspiracies and Cold Beverages. This is episode 3. We're going to dig more into JFK tonight. We hit a little bit about it on our first episode, but we really only talked about a few conspiracies. Obviously, it's a big, huge theory. There's tons of theories. It was a big, huge event. And as the years gone on, more and more stuff has come out. But we're going to get into that tonight. First, let's go over the worst part of the show. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube just so you get notifications. Mr. Joynt Live will be here every Friday night at 8 p.m. We're trying to keep that as consistent as possible. And we always are happy with the donations that we've received. We've gotten some big ones, and so I want to thank you tonight. I was able to actually buy a surprise for my dad, so we'll show that in a minute, but use this promo code. You get free $5. Now I have $5 right here. It's pretty much a worthless greenback now. It's more of a decoration, but if you don't need it, send it to Mr. Joynt. He'd appreciate it. He is on a teacher's salary. And make sure when you do send the Cash App money, send it to the $ R Joynt symbol. It's right there at the bottom of your screen. Tonight we're doing an IPA special. They like IPAs down there in South Florida, so we're doing just $5 an IPA if you would like to. If not, don't worry about it. No big deal. So Mr. Joynt was changing the batteries in his Life Alert necklace. Let's see if he's done. Yes, he's done changing the batteries, so I'll bring him on right now. Hey, Dad.
Yes. Hey. Thanks for the gift. It was a Depends dispenser. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I got the gift right here. You want to see it?
Well,
it was a lot of money.
Oh, well, I don't know.
It's a surprise, but I want to show it to you. It's
all right.
I had to pull some strings to get this. This was extremely expensive.
Wow.
There's not many of them, and you have to call somebody high up the ranks in China. Here it is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's this is an original.
Hunter Biden.
It's an original.
Yeah.
So there it is. He's a fabulous artist, amazing artist. Look at that, huh? Look at the scenery. Look at the colors. Isn't he great?
Yeah. So Hunter's dad, big guy, got part of that. He gets
so it looks like that's Hunter Biden right there, and he's smoking something.
Yeah, sure
and
is.
He's got some candy in his hand, and there's a little girl in the playground. So
we're gonna pay for this. I see the title of
it's original.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna send this to you. You had a birthday, so it's a late birthday present.
Okay. Well, instead of Mr. Joynt Live next week, by this time it might be Mr. Joynt dead. But go ahead.
Mr. Joynt incarcerated. Here, let's
for listeners
turn
out
this
there.
around. Yeah,
that's all right.
I know. We poke fun at him, but man, I tell you what, it's been a crazy week.
Yep, sure has been. Boy, man, not good.
Yeah. You want to spend a couple minutes on that, or what do you?
Well, no, I just say from any perspective. I don't care what perspective you have as you've matriculated through life. I mean, this is there's nothing good about this for anybody to take away. Even some of my more, I guess I could say, progressive colleagues at school are upset, which with the way things have gone, which I didn't think I would ever see from them, but. It's all right. I didn't get into much conversation, but let's go ahead and get back to that's kind of let's get back to on the Kennedy assassination. I'd rather go there.
Yeah. We're here to
maybe we'll discuss once we have more data on what just happened. Maybe we can comment.
This is people's escape from all the crap, the daily crap. This is something they can sit back and relive their high school days.
All right. That's interesting. What you have up there right now. Wow.
Yeah, so this was basically just an assimilation of what was released here recently. Well, a few years ago, right? 2018, 2019.
Yes, 2018. Trump.
Yeah, so what was released from the Freedom of Information Act, and if you notice the graph, only 88% of it was released. So to me, that's the big elephant in the room that no one talks about. There's 12%. If you look at the, the green part of the pie and the red part of the pie will probably never be released due to national security issues. So what's in it that's going to cause a national security crisis?
Yeah, 50 years later.
And
exactly.
then this 11% that they're saying is might be released. And when they do release it, it's only going to be partly released. Now, if you try to go online and find a lot of this stuff, I'm going to need to put on my glasses here for a second. You find what looks a lot like, and then let me bring it up here. It looks like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. That's probably. I know that's one of them because
it's blacked out.
Yeah, and what's the use of releasing it if it's redacted?
Right, it's all redacted, and then the documents that you can read, which is that document on the right there. It doesn't really. I mean, it's usually a letter to an informant, or it's just some, Susie Smith inspected this, whatever. I mean, it has really nothing to do with the assassination, and then a lot of it that does just talks about whatever was in the Warren Commission and what, everything that was, or that everybody already kind of knows. Nothing new came out.
And I'm not sure we know who. This is a little bit off topic, but I'm not sure who we know the redactors are. Quite frankly, some people, even in the intelligence agencies, aren't sure who they are. And you want to talk deep state, either side of the political spectrum. Who are these people, and what gives them the authority to do it? I mean, I mentioned this, probably in the past few weeks. I mean, in the National Archives, Kennedy's brain is missing. How do you lose a brain? How do you lose a brain in the National Archives? You got the Independence right there. You can see it. Constitution, Northwest Ordinance. You have all those documents in that large rotunda room in the National Archives, and you've probably got Kennedy's brain somewhere. But no, they can't. They don't know where it is. Which would have all the slides like a deli slicer, where it's in a formal. The brain was in a formalin like gelatinized state, with sliced up so you could track bullet trajectories, which would confirm or deny the conclusions of the Warren Commission, and the brain is missing. So how do you do that? How does any of this stuff?
And then the doctor. So the doctor who worked on Kennedy and Oswald tried to save them both. The doctor. So he wrote a book. I have it right here.
Okay.
Your grandson found this at a garage sale. He got it for like $5.
Okay.
And they stopped printing them. You can't buy them anymore. Can you see it?
Which doctor?
Charles Crenshaw.
Crenshaw. Okay, Crenshaw and McClellan. And McClellan is the one that at the press conference, when they asked him where was the bullet of entry, and he went like this. He pointed to the front. And that was right after he had come out of the trauma room and the big struggle over Kennedy's body was taking place. The Secret Service was taking the body into the custody of whatever the federal government, even though Texas law said that an assassination or a murder or crime that occurs in the state of Texas, the body stays in the state of Texas law. And of course, that was the big scene in the movie JFK, which they reenacted, where the Secret Service agents and the hospital staff, McClellan and Crenshaw, were trying to fight off the Secret Service agents. And I think Crenshaw had a slight fracture in his rib, where somebody, Secret Service agent or whatever, hit him on the side, probably with a weapon or something, and that Crenshaw doubled over. And there's a lot of stuff. I mean, oh man, it's a interesting thing. Catholic priest came in to help, I guess, Jackie Kennedy, and said he was a friend of Jackie Kennedy's, and he wasn't. She said she didn't know who he was. I mean, we could go,
Well, a lot of stuff.
It's like a kaleidoscope of fireworks here on this whole thing. Go ahead. I got carried away as usual.
No, it's fine. That's your show.
Of another beverage.
Yeah, there you go. Drink up
tonight. Sorry, I have a union meeting tomorrow, so I have to.
I got to do yard work, so I'm not. It's so hot up here. It's so hot up here, man. All right, so
all right.
Here's some quotes, some Kennedy quotes that we were talking about a little bit. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruleless conspiracy that relies on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its
Wow.
preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned. No rumor is printed. No secret is revealed.
Wow.
Now, you got a president coming out saying stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he comes out and says stuff like this: I will splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it into the wind.
And he
Kind of
said,
makes you wonder who was after him.
well, and that was stated after the failure, right after president. It was stated after April the 19th, 1961, and the failure of the Bay of Pigs invasion into Cuba, because it was a CIA botched operation, which probably relied too much on groupthink. Groupthink is where a bunch of people get together to make policy, but nobody really objects to the craziness of the idea. And that was the Bay of Pigs, 1961. Kennedy's just been sworn in, and this is the CIA operation under the direction of Allen Dulles, who was head of the CIA at the time. And when the whole thing, and of course George Bush was undersecretary of the CIA, or operative under it, George Bush Sr. And so when Kennedy fires him, Kennedy fires Allen Dulles, and when Kennedy is shot, Vice President LBJ becoming president, who appoints the Justice Earl Warren Commission, named after Chief Justice Earl Warren, who'll be the chairman of the commission. One of the investigators of the Kennedy assassination will be Allen Dulles, whom Kennedy, the assassinated president, fired. So it's like the fox getting to run the hen house, or whatever, something like that. I mean, that's I just find that incredulous that they would have the brazenness on the Warren Commission to put Allen Dulles on there when he was
right
fired.
after the fact. Yeah,
after the fact. Yeah, crazy. Nobody, some people picked up on it and said stuff, but the media, even then, I don't know that they even cared, or they were after other things, or part of the deal to frame Oswald, I guess, or whatever. Go ahead.
well, and it makes you wonder why, back then too, obviously it was a little bit more militant. They just assassinate you, they kill you.
Yeah, sure.
Nowadays, obviously, with the cell phone and the fact that everybody's walking around with a camera in their pocket,
Yeah,
and they're high, pixelated, and
yeah,
they're not these crappy cameras anymore that take kind of like these pictures right here, all blurry, and
no,
they've done all sorts of remember the Badgeman? Remember that show
yeah,
you showed us?
yes,
And they
yes,
did they did the computer enhancement right here, I think it
yeah.
was, or it was right here.
He's already fired the shot. He is.
Right.
He's fired the
Yeah,
shot.
they're gone in this.
Yeah.
They're gone in
Well,
this
he's
angle.
probably ducked back down. He does appear ducked down on the Zapruder film on the other side, and I've enhanced that several times. I wish I could understand technology more and play that part of the Zapruder film and slow it down enough so that you can see through the bushes, and you see a guy with a type of helmet and netting, and I mean, it's crazy. I have when photo machines were first coming out, and Time magazine took a picture of what they were making fun of it, the Badgeman photo. But the type of photocopy machines they had were almost like metal plate things that would come out of the on the receiver tray. And I mean, I wish I could find some old Time magazine issues, and I may still have it in a box in my junk somewhere, but I've got that photo, and because it's a metal thing, and you can see it, they say there's nothing in this picture. Well, because of it's not infrared. I don't know if it's not 3D, whatever it is, but you can see the eyes, and you can see the guy's helmet, and he's like, right, I don't know if I can point to it. My pointer probably, yeah.
Well,
yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's in the bushes.
so in this one,
The
yeah, you
camera
kind of see.
is going through the bushes and picks up on it.
So you see that little dark object right there.
Yeah. Okay.
They say that's somebody, and then there's people standing right here.
I have to cancel. I had an X here. See if I can enlarge it again. I can. Yeah, I'm good. Okay. Yes. That's early on. Yep, that's early on.
Because there's JFK's head right there,
and
there's
what's
this guy right here.
Yeah, this picture. This picture here. There's a guy right where if you're the viewer and you're looking at this picture, probably about 20 feet, maybe to your right, and about 10 feet behind you is George de Mohrenschildt in a kind of a long, like a trench coat. And he allegedly has silencers and he's firing shots, but you can't hear him because when the bullet holes were patched up on the limousine, and it's possible that, well, there were people that were shot. We know of a 10-year-old boy that was shot off to the right. It would be over where the Cadillac, Malcolm Rausch was his name. So they didn't know what to attribute that to. And that's
there's the Umbrella Man right there.
Yeah, Umbrella Man right there, the guy with the Ridley jacket. I had a kid in my class at Boca High, and he has a Ridley jacket. And it's from, it's not from that time period, but you know how you have Cooley High and
right.
These clothing people try to, replicate stuff. And this guy's got a Ridley High jacket that Badge Man was wearing. I said, "Do you realize what that jacket is?" He says, "No, I don't know what it is." I said, "Well, that's the Umbrella Man's jacket from the Kennedy assassination." He looked at me like, "Man, I don't know what you're talking about, man." So I said, "Yeah, okay, well." Anyway.
Well, that's clearly somebody right there.
Yeah, sure something there. Yeah. Who is it? Yeah. And notice the camouflage. So when he ducks down and sees the Brooder is on the other side of the Stemmon side, he's off to the far right. And so when he's following the motorcade down, there's your bushes right here. Zapruder's over here still. He's right up to the far right, up there.
He's up here somewhere.
Yeah, you can't get. Yeah, so he's there, and so as the motorcade is going on, Badge Man is ducked because he's probably discharging whatever his shells.
Actually, Zapruder's up here, I think.
Okay.
This is where they were standing. He said.
But he's
behind the sign,
panning,
right?
Yeah, Zapruder's panning everything, and so he's going past the bushes, and there's Badge Man, who was. All right, some assassination theorists identify him as a member of the Corsican mafia. He was wearing a police officer, and his real name is Lushan Soutre, Soutre. And Lushan Soutre was implicated in a Corsican mafia plot. He died, I think, in 1972. But Christian David, as of the making of the documentary, The Men Who Killed Kennedy, by either Bill Curtis or in the United States or the BBC in England, whichever copy you end up getting. I unfortunately got the BBC copy. I would have rather had Bill Curtis's. But anyway, of The Men Who Killed Kennedy, which was originally on A&E, whatever that is, entertainment something. I don't know what it stands for anymore. But anyway, Christian David was the person who organized. It was the Corsican mafia, and so Badge Man, he helped. He recruited these guys to go over to America through Mexico City into Texas, and that they were flown in by David Ferry into. This is the movie JFK, and that's what the whole plot of the movie JFK is about. Flown into Dallas, Texas, and came onto the scene dressed as air conditioning repairmen, whatever, and got into their spots wherever they were going to be. The manhole cover, grassy knoll. School Book Depository.
They were there. He was there.
And the first floor of the Daltex building next to the School Book Depository, where possibly George Bush Sr. is. Somebody says they have a pretty clear picture of him standing there. So after the assassination, he comes out and stands in front of the Texas School Book Depository. But who are the okay?
So that's where Zapruder. I guess that's.
Yeah,
this is where I was going with it.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
could be
that's
him.
where Zapruder is. So he
And the
actually captures.
secretary was studying him at the time.
Yeah,
He was
so I guess there's.
just taking a movie picture. It was
Yeah, of the president, and it's one of the
confiscated
most
by the
famous
CIA.
films.
Yeah, confiscated by the CIA and given. Well, Life magazine got it and was told to give it to iTech Corporation to analyze. And iTech was a branch corporation of the CIA. You have this all over the place. I mean, you have companies that are companies, but they're really, you want to talk about deep state. I don't know.
Yeah, they're CIA fronts,
Yeah.
kind of like Hollywood, the movie industry.
Now, as I say, this stuff comes to me as I'm watching it. This motorcycle police officer right there that you see, actually, it might have been, he had moved a little bit further forward when okay, it's this guy on the outside. It's the left guy. It's the guy on the left right there. He says that when shots were being, he felt shots being fired. Now he said he really didn't hear anything, but he felt there was a shot that came from the sidewalk, and that would be Georges de Mohrenschildt. And I wish I could get that film footage to slow down. And the Zapruder film does, you can slow it down enough, you can see this, from across the thing here, this
Right.
And this guy, this motorcycle cop, claims that he felt brain matter hit his left shoulder. He felt a spray of blood and brain matter hit him here. Well, how can that be if the bullet's coming from this direction? Well,
also, wasn't there a bullet hole in one of the windshields? I don't know if it was this one or if it was actually Kennedy's. It was
Kennedy's.
It broke the windshield, and then they destroyed the windshield.
Yeah, they destroyed the windshield, patched up the bullet holes. You can see the car that allegedly, you can see the car that Kennedy was in. It's at the Henry Ford Museum, but it's all patched up. That was under the orders of Lyndon Johnson, who ordered Kennedy's suit and clothes sent to the dry cleaners, and then the car.
Yeah, I mean, they just.
Yeah, how do you do that? You're destroying evidence, but you've just been sworn in as the president of the United States. You can do what you want. You can buy an ice cream cone. You can withdraw troops and have Americans being slaughtered in a country, or you can order clothes and material evidence of a crime, really, and have it laundered literally and patched up. And who cares? Nobody cares. I was in 10th grade. I didn't know what was going on.
So were you in? So like what we talked about for the first episode of JFK, we showed that picture of George Bush Sr.
Yeah,
and he doesn't remember where he was.
No.
But you do.
Yeah, 10th grader, 10th grader. Not really. I was in an English class. I know right where
class. Yeah.
I know right where I was, and Nixon doesn't know where he was, and Nixon was staying at the Plaza Hotel. As a lawyer for Coca-Cola Bottling Company, and we already talked about that. And the Plaza Hotel would be perhaps 100 yards right straight ahead in the picture, and about maybe probably a quarter of a mile to the left. But it had it was tall enough. I think it was 17 stories and had a bird's eye view. You wouldn't. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the building on the right. No, I don't know. That could be the Plaza Hotel right dead center of your picture there. So this
is actually really neat. This is a film, like a technical analysis film guy. He does a lot of this stuff. His name is Gordon Bellray.
Okay.
And he basically took the Zapruder film and digitized it.
Okay.
And then every car you see is a moment where the shots were. So I thought, and then it shows the whole plaza, how it would have looked back then.
So we're kind of technically, we're not really at the grassy knoll, but we're looking from kind of.
You're standing where Zapruder was standing.
Okay, where's Zapruder? And that would make sense. So see the bushes off to your right, lower part of that. That's what I'm talking about. Zapruder's camera went right through those bushes, and Badge Man is on the downside of that bush.
Right here.
And he's just he's wearing like a netting, and well, by that time, that's what he's got on. Now I may, now that picture, go where the people are on the grass. Let me tell that story real quick.
These right here.
That's the Newman family. I forget his first name, but Mr. Newman was a veteran of the Battle of the Bulge, World War II. He was not with Easy Company. He was with another military group that was with Easy Company. Is that okay? That's not, because Newman had his kid, unless that's his kid down almost underneath him, the top of the kid's head. That may not be Newman. That might be someone else. But anyway, Newman was sort of in that general vicinity, and was near the road.
Right here.
That's probably, that looks like it. Yeah, there he's got his kid. See, he's covering his kid. There's his wife, and he's covering his kid. Newman said, he was a Battle of the Bulge veteran, a combat veteran, and he was in situations where bullets were flying all over the place in, the winter of 44, whatever, Argonne Forest. Gosh, I could go on. But anyway, he said, his combat experience, he had bullets come close enough he could feel them going by. And he said in this case, he felt the bullet that probably hit Kennedy, possibly from, I don't know if it was from the front. Let me think. Okay, there was a bullet that came by from the grassy knoll, and he felt it go by so close that it was actually, because bullets rotate, and this thing was high velocity because it was really rotating quite a bit, and it was almost pulling the hairs out of his head. It was that close. He could feel it and hear it, and it was whizzed by his head. Now, he's a combat veteran, and in some of the TV things afterwards, he's crying like crazy, doesn't know what to do, because of what he saw, what he was part of. And let's see what else. If you go, you want to show the bullet, you want to show the head exploding there. Some people,
as far as to talking about trajectory.
Yeah, because some people say, well, gosh, that proves it was from behind. And if you've read anything about Cyril Wecht, that's a guy's name. He was a forensic pathologist, autopsy individual. There's probably a better name for him than that. Allegheny County, Pennsylvania. And he was one of the people that was allowed to, in 1976, 77, under the House Assassination Committee, go in and look at photos and autopsy pictures and other pictures like this. He says that's a frangible bullet. And what that means is it explodes on impact. So what's really strange about this picture is that when you look at the Zapruder film, and you really, really slow it down, there's like a line, like a laser line that's coming in, and almost at the same time that the explosion takes. Some historians that are in this, some of the conspiracy people say that was two shots at once, and they happened to arrive at roughly the same time. There are, I don't know how accurate these are, but some of the individuals who saw stuff in the Texas School Book Depository saw weapons. Some of them were inmates in the jail across the street, right next to the Dow Tex building. But they saw cowling around rifles, and it was claimed that at that time intelligence agencies had, I guess you could say, ways that they could have the guns fire at the same time. A lot of these guys, even in the movie JFK, it looks like they're just aiming their rifles, and the rifles are going to fire on their own on command. Now, that's the front of the Texas School Book Depository. Look at all the people. And it's funny because not really funny, but it's interesting. When you see the recreations now that are being done by some of the lone assassin people, there's a lot of these people that are taken out of that picture. I don't know how they do it, but they go back and redigitalize everything, and they pull all these people out. And because you can see how crowded it was. I would say this has probably been a doctored photo, because there were more
yeah. This is these are digitized. So,
yes.
but you could see these little black boxes. Let me zoom in a little bit. So that's frame 313 from the Zapruder film.
Oh, I see.
Okay. So what this guy's doing is he's He's taking he's going frame by frame. He digitizes it. He cleans everything up. He takes all the people out. He cleans all them up to kind of give you a better, feel for what was actually going on. There's frame 237.
Go back to the frangible. Go back to the frangible bullet picture.
Hey, didn't you say? So real quick, remember you said this guy right here had a receiver in his hand?
Yeah, it looks like he's ejecting his shell as he brings his hands down. And that might be the bullet that went into Kennedy's throat. Because coming out of the other side of the Stebbins freeway sign, Kennedy's got his hands up like this. This could have been the guy that
right here.
That. Yeah. Or it was someone else. And then you say, well, how many people are we going to accept? Well, I don't know. If you listen to the police radio and the acoustics experts on the police radio, they say there were, and they're just reporting concussions of shots, including silencers going off. And one guy that analyzed the acoustic stuff said there were 22 shots fired from the time DeMoran Shield on the corner here, far left, all the way down to the final, exploding frangible bullet shot. 22 concussions.
Yeah.
So one of my former students.
They could say that was, cars backfiring.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, one of my former students said later on, well, maybe it was a string of firecrackers. And I said, yeah, sure. Somebody's just blowing up firecrackers at the same time. It's funny because those of you that went to Westminster when Jenny Hoover, the guidance counselor, was there, she was at Dallas Community College, and she and her friends were running to Dealey Plaza to see Kennedy in the motorcade, and they didn't get there in time, but they heard all the shots go off. And I said, was it 3 shots? She goes, and she swore because I don't know, man. She teaches at Westminster, and she said, no. It sounded like a string of firecrackers. So when you hear that, now this is interesting here, because when the people recreate the stuff now for the lone assassin stuff, some of the individuals, I don't know if Gerald Posner is not part of that, the author of some of the, I forget the title of his book now. My brother has an autographed copy of it, but he defends the cone theory and the lone assassin from up in the the 6th floor. It was just Oswald. Anyway,
right, shot 3 shots, all of them hit.
These people, see the guy. Okay, stop this picture right here. Man, this is a great shot. Stay on this thing. Upper right. Move your cursor to the upper right, front of the limousine. Keep going. There's a guy like in a trench coat right there. Okay, now you'll notice. Okay, that's Georgie DeMoran Shield. And what does he have in his hands? Is he clapping? No. If you do I don't know if you can get a close up. They probably
That's as close as I could get.
Okay, now look at the person, and who is that? The person right next to him. That's a lady. He's just according to some conspiracy theorists, he is firing his silencers. And off to the far left here is Malcolm Roush over here that just got hit. And there are hitting the car. And some people, I guess one lady claimed of a ricochet over here, but wasn't sure what it was. And she was treated and released. But this lady right here, look at her, how her legs are splayed. And if you could get another 2 or 3 frames, and then all of a sudden she disappears from the film. She's there 1 minute and then she's gone.
Talk about this right here.
I'm talking about right here. Notice that. I mean, nobody stands like that. You can't stand like that.
So he's got his hand. You're saying he's got his arm out.
She stepped in front of him. Yes, he's got his arm out. She stepped in front of him, got her brains blown out. And there's the motorcycle cop right here. Go over to this outside motorcycle cop. Go to his left shoulder.
Right here?
Go to him. Yeah. Go to his left shoulder. You got to go to the other guy. Go to the other cop.
Right
now
here?
Yeah. Well, just leave it where it is. Don't move it. Yeah, him. Now go to his shoulder, his left shoulder. And he says felt brain matter on his left shoulder. So how does that happen? How does he feel brain matter on his left shoulder when there or something splay, and he had to get his uniform dry cleaned and everything else when the final shot hasn't even been fired yet? Down further in the next couple of slides, the final shot has not been fired, and he up here has already felt the spray of brain matter and whatever. And it's probably that lady. There were cars following the motorcade that stopped allegedly. We don't know, and this is another thing I heard, and I can't confirm this, so this is all speculation. But there's a lot of missing person reports right after the assassination of people that were in Dealey Plaza. Guys in black suits rounding people up. There were buses parked around the corner, and those individuals were going to be taken for questioning, and they don't know where they went. Suppose 120 to 200, I don't know the exact number, missing persons report. And I guess you have to understand that, probably a lot of that stuff was covered up. There's probably no record of the missing persons, I don't know. Or I'm just, in need of a full-time commitment to an assisted living facility where I can be hooked up to cold drinks on an IV, and
there you go.
There you go. That'll be next week. Just kidding.
And sponge baths.
Yeah, sponge baths. And then right after that, when I am terminated, it'll be, instead of Mr. Joynt Live, we already said Mr. Joynt dead. Sorry, that's awful.
There's a lot of people that wanted to kill John F. Kennedy, though.
Yes,
I mean, it wasn't just.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I mean, there was this guy.
My family didn't like him. I may have already told everybody this. My great-great-grandfather, Robbie's triple great-grandfather, Leverett Harger, was a signer of the Republican platform in Jackson, Michigan in 1854. Also, my family were very Protestant. They didn't like Catholics. I was not really part of that. I mean, I kind of listened to it. Even my sister, Aunt Sue, when Kennedy got elected in 1960, she wore a black armband to middle school, or I guess it was to high school, claiming that every country that's ever has had a Catholic as a leader has gone down the drain. And I just thought, what are you doing? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I had Catholic friends. They went to catechism. My father tried to turn all that around. As an Irish Protestant, he felt, having his ancestors come over from Ireland and all the, back and forth killings going on. He as a Christian, after he became a Christian when he was 38 years old, he wanted to just turn the narrative in his own family around. I'm a little bit off track here, but I want to come back to Catholicism and how there were, as you say, people that didn't like him. So my family weren't big fans of they were, Nixon, 1960, I remember bumper stickers and all this stuff. My father was, Barry Goldwater's supporter in 64. I actually got to touch Barry Goldwater's shoulder as he went by in downtown Detroit in 1964. Probably wasn't supposed to, but anyway. So back to my father's just really almost an anti-Catholic Irish Protestant family from northern Michigan. I remember his older sister, my great aunt Myrtle, who would, she told me at the end of her life, right before Robbie, you were born, and I was up visiting her in Melbourne, Florida. She said that they would go out on St. Patrick's Day and beat up Catholics in northern Michigan.
Yeah.
Down she grew up. And I'm thinking, what? Why would you do that? And she kind of grinned. And my father was trying to turn the narrative around, and he wanted his family not to be that way. And I respected that. And so when everybody was cutting down Kennedy because he was Catholic, my father was just saying, "Come on, man! He's the president of the United States. We're supposed to pray for our leaders." I always respected my father's stand on that kind of thing, and that kind of I tried to mirror that. I don't know, in my own life, because there's a lot of I don't know, even in school, maybe sometimes, although we had Catholic kids at Westminster, but sometimes in Bible classes, I just remember some of the people, Catholic this, Catholic that. Cardinal Gibbons is down the street. And I'm thinking, man, I mean, I don't know. But
wasn't that more at that time, that era, yes, that was more of a generational issue?
Yeah, now we don't have time for that crap.
Yeah, nobody cares what religion you are anymore.
Now Christians, we're in the boat, and we better stick together, as Franklin said, hang separately. But back to your main point, yes, there were a lot of people that hated Kennedy. Go ahead, because you got this slide here.
Well, all this, I just used that as an example. This is a guy, Richard Pollock, 73 years old, loaded his car up with dynamite to crash into Kennedy's car while they were vacationing in Palm Beach. And then he decided not to because, it was her, Jackie and their kids were with him. Mm-hmm. So he he ended up not doing it. So, but I guess the Secret Service got him a few days later.
Yeah.
Which is surprising because how are they going to catch this guy?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How do they even know who he is? He's
Yeah.
driving around with dynamite in his car, but
Yeah.
they can't catch
Yeah.
Oswald or
Brilliant. Yes.
you know what I mean?
Or Georgie DeMorenshield, or who was a CIA operative. By the way, he was going to testify before the House Assassinations Committee. He was living in Lantana, Florida, on the beach in a condo. Oddly enough, four units, not 4 units, but 4 complexes down from where George Bush's mother, Mrs. I forget her first name, George Bush Sr.'s mother, President George W. Bush's grandmother, they all lived in this area. It's like they had, I don't know, CIA, like a CIA colony there in Lantana. Manalapan is
the part. Joseph Kennedy, yes. The dad of John F. Kennedy,
yes,
right, was a bootlegger.
Yeah. In Palm Beach County and in Miami.
Yeah, and obviously he had some issues with the mob.
Any of your friends remember Whiskey Creek at John U. Lloyd Park? Do you remember that? That's where some of that stuff came in. Let me go back real quick. Yes, the mob. No,
go ahead. That's fine.
But Georgie DeMorenshield was going to testify along with Johnny Rosselli about their role in the Kennedy assassination. Johnny Rosselli never made it to the testimony in 1976. He was found chopped up in a oil drum in Dunfermline Bay in 1976. And they were
brutal back then. Huh?
Yeah, Johnny Rosselli went into the surf there at Surfside where he lived, and they claim that he was pulled under, and then a couple days later his remains are found in an oil drum, chopped up and nicely arranged, just like Brown's Chicken that some of you guys remember on 18th and Commercial, where the ball lady used to hang out. Anyway, you remember her with the tennis outfit and rolling the ball. Okay, Browns used to arrange everything. That's why I'm saying that.
Hey, I see that more and more now.
Yeah.
These people wandering around, especially like here in the capital. Like these big cities.
Yeah.
That's they are just
a lot of
crazy
out there.
It's
so
they're talking to themselves. They're yelling at stuff. It's not there. They're holding hand radio, like a radio, like up to their ear, and then talking into it. And Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Georgie DeMorenshield, right within 24 hours of Johnny Rosselli disappearing, mafia boss out of Chicago, who helped. He was part of the handling outfit of Jack Ruby, which we'll get into some other time. Probably because Jack Ruby their real name was Jack Rubenstein, a Jewish wing of the Italian mafia out of Chicago. But Georgie DeMorenshield, a Russian exile, white Russian exile, we don't have a chance to explain what that means, who was anti-communist and part of he was a CIA operative. He was going to testify, but he was found with a, quote, self-inflicted gunshot wound, sitting in his chair, looking out bay window onto the ocean in Manalapan, Florida, within a day or two of when he was going to fly to Washington, D.C. and testify. What's interesting is he was holding the gun in his left hand, but he was right-handed, but he's holding the gun in his left hand. If you know anything about suicide people, when they shoot themselves, they're not able to hold the gun. I mean, everything goes all over the place. But he was very, it was planted. He was sitting back, and he just blown his brains out, and the gun's in his hand. He's like this. So anyway, another time, but that's Georgie DeMorenshield. He was gone. Johnny Rosselli is gone. Santino Trafficante, another mafiosa, disappeared. All these people are going to be material witnesses for the House Assassinations Committee in '76. But the House, as we said before, the House Assassinations Committee did conclude in '77 in their publication that more likely there were more than one shooter in Dealey Plaza, more than one person shooting at Kennedy, and that they concluded that was more than likely true, and that the Attorney General of the United States should reopen the Kennedy assassination as soon as possible. And since that day, no attorney general under any of the presidents we have had since then until right now has ordered a reinvestigation. Go. Sorry, I'm just
No.
let me
I
go.
mean,
You
that's
got the
Freedom of Information Act. You would have thought that they gave a little bit, but it wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
So to kind of recap everything, I know again, the John F. Kennedy assassination is just such a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Over the years, I think too is the mob was the enemy number one back right around when he was assassinated. So everybody blamed the mob. And then as years went on in the 70s and stuff, you got into everybody blamed the Russians, right?
Right.
And then in the 80s, everybody started blaming the CIA. So it seems like, every decade or so, there's like a new theory or a new conspiracy or a new boogeyman.
Yeah.
But I don't think something of this magnitude could be done just by a couple willy-nillys that were, out posting anti-Cuban propaganda or whatever it was, so they were passing out Soviet propaganda.
Yeah.
That's what Lee Harvey Oswald was doing. But
that seems that was
like the most of it. That was the height of his activism. That's all he was doing. He was standing on street corners, passing out flyers.
Yeah. Well, he was also a Marine guard at the Atsugi Air Force Base in Japan, top secret CIA. I mean, he was a Marine guard, and some people think he might have had access to the altimeter codes of Francis Gary Powers, the U-2 pilot, and was able to transmit that. When he came to the Soviet Union, he was able to somehow get that. So he was kind of, I don't know, he's a Lee Harvey Oswald's a deep cover. He wasn't just a Marine who went sour. There's so much stuff to him, and who knows? Well, it's just the Kennedy assassination. It's like walking through a swamp, and you go into this hole, you go into this hole, then this hole, you come out of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can.
And you're finding that out as you're lining this stuff up every Friday night. You're seeing this, firsthand.
Well, you could spend all day getting lost in each little branch of the conspiracy. You can go to the mob, and there's some credible stuff that the mob was involved. You could do, George Bush Sr. and what was it? It was the OSS back then, right?
Yes, it was.
This is prior,
yep.
Yeah, it was prior, or OSA, whatever it was.
OSS.
It was prior to the
OSS, Office of Strategic Services. Yes.
And that was prior to CIA.
And one of the guys that was Donovan was his last name, and then later he is the guy that Tom Hanks plays in Bridge of Spies, who gets out. What's his name? Gary Francis Powers. Real fast. If we never get to the autopsy, there's a really good book on all this stuff, and it's written by a former. Well, he was on the staff of the Warren Commission, but when he found out all the crap that was going on, he kind of backed off, and then I forget what opened up his eyes, but he wrote the book called Best Evidence, and there's a sequel to it, More Best Evidence. It's David Lifton, Lifton. The first book's about 800 and something pages. You got to really want to do this. I want to read that book, but that's an incredible book, and I mean, and this guy he's a progressive, whatever that means, wherever you are on the political spectrum right now. He's not a conservative, not by any stretch, but boy, David, and he's been out for a while. That book's been out since probably early 2000s, maybe late 1999, maybe, I forget, but it's called Best Evidence, and it's about the body. Kennedy's body is the best evidence. It's just a forensic study of the whole thing from Dallas to to Bethesda, and the autopsy table, the autopsy itself, all the stuff around it.
We'll have to save that for another show.
It'll send chills. I mean, if you read that, it'll open it's an eye opener. So instead of just listening to me blab and drink, tea or whatever I'm drinking, you guys can go out there and you can, you should know the truth, and the truth shall make you free, man. Freedom we still have the freedom to do this and find stuff until they censor us out, I guess, forever. So go ahead. Sorry, I gotta.
Well, we got to wrap it up.
Yep. You want to show my sword real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
show
still
your,
at it real
your
fast.
sword.
I still am in the.
Remember, this is a rated. This is rated PG.
Yeah, it certainly is. And so this is an artillery sword. You can tell by its curve. This is an actual Civil War sword, and this has the stamp Robert Mole and Sons, Birmingham, England. You can't see it, but it's right there, and it's got the Tiffany stamp, and it's believed to be. This is from my wife's side of the family, Robbie's stepmother from Iowa, and this is from Charles Gregory, who was with the 16th New York Heavy Artillery. He enlisted in 1864, and really interesting because he was only 16 years of age, and they gave this to these guys who were going to be manning cannons. This is his sword. The only reason Lisa got it was because Lisa's father at age 8 was an honorary pallbearer at Charles Gregory's funeral in 1935, and got this out of the attic. We're pretty sure we've identified it correctly as his, and it's not a Confederate sword that maybe he picked up somewhere. I'm looking for engravings here on the hilt, but yeah, I'm still into it. We brought it with us to from Iowa here to here. We're going to hang it up. It'll stay in Lisa's family, and if that is truly the sword, and we're pretty sure it is, that sword was on the battlefield at the same time as the Browns from Georgia. Robbie, your ancestors, Vienna, Georgia. What's his name? Abide Rembert Brown and his father, Lone Brown officer, on your mom's side, and then Lisa's ancestor, and then your other ancestors on my side who got killed there, Union Lieutenant Franklin D. Hammond. So this sword was within probably 2 miles where all those people from all these families. But now we're one country, and here we are trying to figure out all this stuff out. But I got the sword, and it'll be in Lisa's family. Her daughter Julia, would have been class of 2011 WA, came with me to Boca in 2008. Jordan Edwards was 2008. No, 2008, and then Sean was 2006, and Jeffrey was 1998. You're 1994. So all you guys from Westminster, I think about you, and thanks for showing up. It's good. I've heard a couple of names, and Robbie passes it on, and hope you're all doing well.
Yeah, Ricky says JFK, I put it there on the bottom, also tried to audit the Fed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good.
Donald Trump threatened to audit the Federal Reserve too. So I don't know. Here's a Democrat and a Republican who threatened to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
All right, man. That was a good one.
We
got a few people on, but you did a few people bought you some IPAs.
Okay, I'm going to give that to my wife. She's a big IPA fan. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
well, we'll have to give these people a shout out.
Yes.
The first one is non-binary Mandy. And she wanted to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Non-binary person.
Okay, that's
non-binary Mandy says, "Hello, human Joynt. What is your favorite color of hair, blue or pink?"
Oh man,
I guess not blonde or brunette.
That
red.
could be a Stumoka. That name rings a bell. I always like
non-binary Mandy.
I don't know. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I've got a lot of them there, but I like pink. I have a couple of polo shirts that are pink. Don't ask me why. I've always liked pink. Whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, that was $5 in IPA money. There you go.
Non-binary Mandy. Wow.
Yeah, non-binary Mandy. Thank you so much.
Wow.
We don't know who you are.
I got to look non-binary up. Sorry. That's beyond.
I think that means like you're not a male or female or.
I thought that was binary. Okay.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't either.
Hunter's Hard Drive says, "Love your videos. Would you like to star in my new one filming this weekend at the Marriott, room 306?
Yeah, they're out there. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Go ahead.
Colombian Bulge Says Hola El Jefe, Senor Joynt.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know who that
Colombian
is either.
bulge. I don't know if that's a dish.
I've had the privilege of a lot of Colombian students, especially at Boca, that are big soccer fans, and that's great. Yep.
All right. Well,
All right.
autopsy or something next week, or
Yeah, sure.
should
Okay.
let's skip it and then come back, because sometimes people don't want to see the same old stuff.
Yeah, I know.
We'll have to think of another topic.
Like I say, well, that or I don't know. Jack Ruby. We could uncover that. We got
we could go into that. Jack Ruby in the strip club and
that and the person who was his oncologist. And I can't mention him by name, but his kids went to Westminster, and he was a resident at Parkland Hospital and was Ruby's oncologist. And I mean, it's a secondhand story. If you went to Broward College, I used his name on my study guide. I didn't think anything of it. He never complained. The doctor that was, still practicing in Fort Lauderdale. So anyway, he was Ruby's oncologist and treated him up until his death in 69. Ruby's death. Okay, of cancer. All right. Wow, a lot of information.
Yeah, man. It's like I said in the beginning, it's just such a broad spectrum of theories and people. There was so many people involved and so many different agencies involved that, I mean, you could go on and on and on and on and on. Forever.
I'm going to put your gift of Hunter Biden's photo with right next to the can of Billy beer from Billy.
Okay,
Billy Carter's brother.
Yeah,
that's where it's going to go. Right there. Wow,
it's an original.
I had somebody leave this out in the swale. It was in the trash on the swale. I picked it up.
Those are collectible.
It's still got beer in it, worth about $400. It's worth $400. And they left it.
Wow.
They had it lying out on the grass, and I saw it when I was walking by and picked it up. And so Hunter Biden's photo, which probably will be famous someday. Yeah, maybe it's not all it's cracked up to be. Oh, geez.
Boom, boom.
Boom is right. All righty. So.
All right, Dad. Well, I love you. Thanks for doing this again.
9 o'clock. All righty.
All right.
Time for the nurse to come put me to bed. Good night.
See you. Good night. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. That was all we have for tonight. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and hope you all had fun. It's always fun to hang out and talk with my